Okay, we're a couple minutes past 3 now, so I will get us underway. And what we're going to do today is essentially fly through a 4 to 5 minute PowerPoint. Then we'll jump into a Unleashed integrated prospect system and take a bit of a look around together. Any questions throughout though, please feel free to use the live chat and Q&A section in this meeting room, and I'll probably revert back to the questions towards the end. So let's just start by taking my face for radio off the screen. We'll stick this up here and we'll get underway. So this webinar is all around discovering the CRM that completes your Unleashed workflow. And thanks for joining today's webinar. There is a very old photo of myself, probably 6, 7 years old. Might need to get that updated. But I am a CRM product expert, supposedly. I've worked with Unleashed customers for 7 years in the CRM space. So fairly familiar territory for our company, for me individually, and any questions you want to fire in the chat with regards to Access CRM, stroke Prospect CRM, and or Unleashed, I should be pretty equipped at answering those. So feel free to go for it. There's no such thing as a stupid question here. So hit me with anything that comes to mind. The perfect match for Unleashed and how Prospect CRM as a bolt-on becomes a natural extension to your workflow. Real businesses and real B2B sales growth. And here's a quote from one of our customers that I began working with quite some time ago. More specifically, Dennis Kelleher, the CEO of Good Culture Kombucha, UK-based kombucha company. Since we started using this CRM in the last 12 months, our sales have doubled. Sounds like a pretty extreme scenario. However, if you were to go onto our website and go to our customer success stories, you'll very much get the impression and sense that that is very normal for a lot of Unleashed customers that begin to use Access stroke Prospect CRM. And you'll kind of see for yourselves how that is real possibility for your business, hopefully today too. Beyond the basics and how our CRM stacks up against other CRMs within the market. So here's an extremely high level comparison slide between Prospect and some other CRMs to explain a little bit about what Prospect does differently. So what we're looking at just to begin with is basically a breakdown of some other CRM systems and more specifically their customer bases, who they sell to, right? And what we've got here is Salesforce, Pipedrive, and HubSpot. And you'll notice all of their markets and industries are very similar, almost identical. They all actually share the exact same top 3 markets. So they're all primarily working with other software companies, information tech services, and advertisement agencies too. The reason for that is because those are the markets which are the most proactive in buying CRM. So if you're a CRM company, you tend to focus in on there. But where we're extremely different is all of our customers sell physical products B2B. And most of them do B2C sales too. That is absolutely fine. But in some way, shape, or form, they all do B2B product sales. And it is definitely a less proactive market in buying CRM, but we do extremely well in our market in terms of close rates and customer success. And that's because our customers require very different functionality. And there's kind of 3 key points to that statement. So the first point would be, and arguably the most important point, and maybe why some of you are here today, is we have the strongest integration to Unleashed without a shadow of a doubt. And it's not even close in terms of other CRMs and their level of integration with Unleashed. And then the 2 other points where we're very different kind of fall under the umbrella of sales and how, you know, these types of businesses and your business would sell very differently to all of these organizations. So firstly, thinking about what these industries do, it's all very much project-based work. There's no real repeat business going on in any of those markets. Whereas repeat business, account management, customer retention is absolutely imperative to all of our customers. So Prospect will focus in on that in quite a big way. And then I suppose the second part of the sales equation where our customers are very different is our customers sell tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of SKUs. So we'll also really look to identify cross-sell opportunity and see what our customers are not buying, which maybe they should be. And these businesses, again, just using our common sense, will primarily sell one product or service. So I will, of course, elaborate and explain how Prospect looks after all of that today. Here is a few of our reviews and awards in various app marketplaces. Of course, we do quite well. Trustpilot 4.7, we are now striving for 4.8, which is almost as good as you can get in software, to be candid with you. So very proud of that one in particular. And this slide kind of summarizing my previous point. Every CRM will promise you more customers, as will we, but what we're also looking to do is really maximize your customer lifetime value. And of course, if we're able to do both of those things, we should achieve a decent level of sales growth and business growth, which is always the aim to a degree. This kind of breaks that model down slightly further. So we've got attract, sell, and close. That is more customers. And every CRM kind of covers off this. But then maximizing your customer lifetime value logically, it's just about maximizing your customer's onboarding process and making sure that's fluent. And thereafter, we want to make sure our customer retention is as strong as it can be. We increase order value as much as we can, and our customer order frequency is as high as it can be too. The growth playbook, and this is kind of putting all of that notion and theory and idea into action. And I'll explain how this works. So we've got higher customer lifetime value here, and the four sections that fall into that regime are onboarding, increasing order value, maximizing order frequency, and customer retention alike. And then you've got your three kind of categories within bringing in more customers. You know, it's all about track, sell, and closing. But these tiles in the middle here line up with the ones at the bottom. So if you're looking to improve customer retention, all of these features in the system will really help you do that. If you're looking to increase how often your customers are buying, then these tools will be a big win, and kind of so on and so forth. And hopefully we can piece all of this together and really drive that business growth. But our system will come with an entire onboarding process, and our onboarding team will very much be tasked with enabling you to achieve these goals instantly, depending on where your business is kind of prioritizing its growth and improvement. And one of the tools which really helps with that kind of customer retention side of things is the RFM model. RFM is an analytical tool used in repeat business and repeat selling. We've just brought it to the software world. And this really helps unleash customers out with managing their customer base in a much more focused and direct and strategic approach. But what is RFM? RFM stands for recency, frequency, monetary value. So Prospect CRM stroke Access CRM will very much assess your customers' recency of orders, frequency of orders, and value of orders to automatically place your customers in these different segments. Champions, loyals, right the way down to customers who are at risk, you can't lose, or are hibernating. And naturally, your interest will peak in these lower segments. And this is where you want to focus from a sales or a marketing approach. And we'll look at an RFM model within a system in a moment. But just a couple more slides from myself here before we jump into a platform. In terms of how everything syncs and integrates, what Prospect will bring through is all of the currencies, tax and warehouses, customer suppliers, products, pricing, and inventory, and then sales kind of encompassing all of those areas. And then in terms of what you can push from CRM into Unleashed, new customers, new products, new orders, and sales analysis. And of course, I'll give us kind of a whistle stop tour of all of that today. And that is now. So let's jump into the system and look at some of that in action. And here is the system in question here. So this is the dashboard, and this dashboard, as soon as you hook up an Unleashed system to a free trial of Access CRM, this is what you get right away. So we can see how much we've brought in this month versus last month because the integration is live and Prospect has all of those figures. Then over here, we've got our customers within the various segments of the RFM model, which we'll explore in a moment. And these are our customers who should have ordered by now in the missing orders report. We can also see customers growing in spend versus declining in spend, and all of our customers that we haven't communicated with in a month or 2 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever's relevant to your business. But if we come back up here and we kind of touch on the RFM model because we've explored it, we've got 2 customers who are at risk and 5 champions and kind of so on and so forth. But as soon as you dive into this segment of the RFM model, you get some pretty powerful data points. So you can see when somebody's first order was, when their most recent order was, the total number of orders they've placed, and the average order size. Here you've got the customer in question, which all of this data is, of course, referring to. And these customers, of course, are at risk because they haven't ordered in at least 5 months. This customer hasn't ordered in 5 months. This customer hasn't ordered in 18. So we can kind of understand straight away why they're at-risk customers. However, the way the RFM model works is it compares your customers to your customers to give your own unique RFM analysis. It's not to say that at-risk customers haven't bought in 5 months. That's not how it works. Like I say, it compares your customers to your customers and you'll get a true picture based off that. And we could jump into those accounts and explore some of the sales analysis, but instead what we'll do is we'll go to our champion customers. And here we can see who our champion customers are. They've all ordered in the last week. They placed way more orders, so they probably have much stronger order frequency, and they probably have a larger average order size too. So again, we're taking into account recency of orders, frequency of orders, and value of orders. And straight away, this is very much giving us some direction. What's also quite nice about this, and actually the entire dashboard as a collective, is at the moment we're looking at our business's dashboard, right? All of our customers together. But if you have an account management structure and certain people are responsible for certain accounts, we can actually go ahead and select different account managers within our organization up here. So we could go ahead and look into Amber's customers. And then Amber gets Amber's own unique dashboard. And it gives you a slightly more tunnel visioned approach of where you need to focus. But alternatively, we'll go to the everyone dashboard and you can chop and change that as much as you wish. The missing orders report, let's dive into it. These are our customers who should have ordered by now. So this really complements the RFM model, but does it in a slightly more specific way. So here we've got 9 customers who should have ordered by now. And let's explore why they should have ordered by now. It's because our system calculates an average days between orders and will therefore give you every single customer that's broken that rule. So if we take the example of Joe Public here, we can see they were buying from us every 29 days on average. Very strange for them not to buy in 47 days. And now they've not bought in 112. So this customer clearly should have bought by now. They've broken their regular buying pattern with our business without a shadow of a doubt. And if we were to jump into Joe Public, we'll actually be given that message right away that this customer should have bought by now. You can see it along the top here. Over here, you can see what they spent in the last 365 days compared to the previous, and also what they've spent in our most recent financial year to date. We've got lots of other pages we'll get to in a moment, but let's focus on this message at the top that this customer should have ordered by now and kind of see what's happening. If we click on details, it will take us to the sales analysis page. And to begin with, I'm going to focus on the right-hand side as these are all of the orders and the dates and values attached to them. And each of these bars represents an order. So Doing some pretty quick maths, they placed one order in April, a couple in March, one in February, and one in Jan. So 5 orders in the space of 4 months. They haven't now ordered in nearly 4 whole months. So therefore, they clearly should have bought by now. And that is why they're in this report. Just to maybe get a little bit more granular detail there, we can expand this out. There's all of their orders. As we said, 2 in March, one in April, February, and January. So pretty easy to understand why this customer should have bought by now. We don't need to be Carol Vorderman by any stretch of the imagination. Over here, we've got the fluctuations in their spend each month. And down here, we can even see what their top products are by value. So this is where most of their money goes. By the SKU, this is a jam company, if you hadn't worked that out just yet. So we can see most of their spend goes on apricot jam, followed by some chairs, and then a couple of other jam products here. But we could also expand this out to get an exact picture of where their money goes by the SKU in a little bit more detail. So if we take the apricot jam, we can see they've ordered 50 units, and that was on one order, spending nearly £410. And that is clearly their most popular product. If we just actually dive into one of these products here, we'll go back into the apricot jam. You could search for the product where you could actually search for any product, customer, contact, sales order, you name it. But for now, we'll look at a product, and the images will come through from Unleashed, as will the SKU, name, category. There's an opening Unleashed link there, but we've also got some further information like the price we sell the product at, the cost price to our business, the amount we've got in stock, and also the amount of units we could build using our bills of materials in Unleashed too. We need all of this stock visibility because we can create orders in this system and push them into Unleashed. So, of course, you need the customer and the product information too. But also we could go ahead and kind of assess how a product performs. We've sold 110 units of this product. This product's featured on 110 different orders, and we've sold 63,500 units. The product's made us almost 500K. I could, of course, filter this report by timestamp, type of customer, and use all of this data to my advantage. But in terms of high-level information, there it is. And we can also see what the top buyers of a product are, and also how well a product does each month, which can actually help me a little bit with stock planning too. And also on Joe Public, we can look at the addresses. Of course, we need the address because we can create orders and push them into Unleashed. From here, you inevitably need the shipping and billing addresses. All of the contacts will sit here. So you might have various contacts that you communicate with in Joe Public, and all of those humans and individuals would sit here. And you've even got an orders page giving you all of the orders, including the order number, which you could dive into as well to explore what's featured in that order. And just a couple more elements from myself, not too much more to touch on, but if we actually just dive back into Joe Public for a brief moment, we can go back to their sales analysis page. And beneath these reports, we can also see kind of a matrix and cross-selling spread of what types of products this customer's buying from us, and perhaps more significantly, what they're not buying from us. So here you can see this customer's buying finished jam products from us. They're not buying any of these products from us. And they're not buying jam jars, but they are aware of jam jars. We've obviously communicated those products from us in some way. But if we go ahead and go into the Magic Matrix as a whole across our entire business, you can see the detail of that here. So whereas before we looked at a Magic Matrix for the customer Joe Public, What we're now doing is looking at Magic Matrix across our entire business. So we've got our customers on the left-hand side, and we have our different product categories along the top. And you can clearly see who's bought certain products, who we're currently working on a sale with in relation to certain products, who's aware of products but haven't bought them, and also who's unaware. And this data is always live and fed off the real sales data and the real CRM activity. But we could perhaps explore this in a little bit more detail should you take out a prospect trial. Very powerful report, generates our customers a lot of money, to be candid with you. Because ultimately, if we can get our customers buying as many product types from us as possible, this will increase their spend with us, probably their order frequency with us too, and most importantly, arguably, their customer stickiness and their dependency on us as a supplier. What I'm going to do now is just jump into some slightly more simple CRM activity, probably just for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll conclude the presentation side of today's webinar. But I'm just going to go ahead and find my record. So here we've got Tony, who works at the Access Group. Now, you can see that I'm the main decision maker at the company. That isn't true in real life, but for the sake of today's webinar, it is. And the Access Group are a potential customer. So let's jump into this record here. You can clearly see you're on Tony's record and he works at the Access Group. Kind of see all of my details and such. If you come down here, you can also see what's been going on. So there's a couple tasks set for the support user, which is who I am logged in as. So I've got a couple of tasks here to communicate with Tony. I could mark one of those as complete if I wished. And if you scroll down here, you can also see all of the email communication. Prospect has a two-way sync with both Outlook and Gmail. So all of the email communication from you and all of your colleagues will always be there. And you've got a pretty up-to-date picture of where we're at with a certain customer. But from here, we could do a few things, right? We could write some notes and throw it on the timeline. It just works like social media. So I won't demonstrate that. Instead, I'll add a task because it requires a little bit more of an explanation. And let's go ahead and add a task of send email. And I'm going to write, spoke to Tony, phone. He is keen to buy, would like email to turn to. And then we can decide who that task is for. Is it for us? Is it for a colleague? I'll leave it on for me. And when is the task for? I'll leave it on for today. And I'll go ahead and click create. And then a few things have happened. So first of all, everyone can see that Tony set himself a task for today. They can see what I'm getting up to. That task then appears in my task list, which is down here. And if you assign a colleague a task, they'll be notified via email right away too. Then, of course, you can log into the system on any given day, and you can go to your task up here. And then we can see we need to send Tony an email. So to do that, we'll go ahead and select his email on the right-hand side. We'll select the template we need, and we'll press send. It takes us 5 seconds because we're using a template. And we're using a template because that template uses merge fields. It's taken Tony's name, his business name, and your business name could be in there too as an example. This email template's also got our T's and C's attached, so you can configure templates to have attachments pre-attached to them. And you can delete attachments, of course, if you need to. You could even use AI to have the system write you an email. Or you could use AI to make the email more friendly or professional. And if we send the email's been sent. The email lands in here, so you and your colleagues have total visibility of that communication. The email goes to the sent items of your Outlook or your Gmail. And finally, that email will also be tracked by the system. So if the customer opens the email or clicks on links in the email, you'll see all of that here for yourself too. And once you've done a bit of communication or task management, then you might be ready to create a quote or a sales order for that person. So let's go ahead and do just that. And we'll go ahead and use a quote record because we can still process a sales order from here should we need to. Now, we're going to go ahead and call this a August stock order. We could assign a salesperson to this. The price tier and the warehouse will be taken from Unleashed. But let's go ahead and use the wholesale price tier in this case. What we'll do now is we'll build the quote and order, and Prospect being a CRM, a sales and marketing tool, is a little bit friendlier on the order building side of things than what Unleashed is. So here we can see what the top products are for this specific customer, what their most frequently ordered items are, which is handy. In Unleashed, as you'll know, you have to type in each product one by one and add it in and change the quantity and the price and the discount. Whereas in Prospect, it will kind of kick off by giving you the top 5 products. Alternatively, you can open up a larger screen and search for products, and we could search for, a product name or SKU and begin to add numerous lines in there. So I could go for 10 brownies and set a price of £2, and that's all added now to the order. I can look at recent purchases, which will show me that customer's recent orders, including the recent price they paid and the order date. And finally, we have popular items, which again is that customer's favorite items, top to bottom. And from here, I could add numerous lines at once, which is extremely helpful. So this is the customer you're communicating with or trying to sell to, their top products, top to bottom in terms of order frequency. And I could go for 5 of these, 2 of those, 3 of these, click add and close, and now I've built a bit of an order. If this was a sales order that we've agreed with the customer, I could go ahead and push it into Unleashed by pressing confirm, and it will go into their Unleashed account. If that is a potential customer, I can actually create their account in Unleashed and process their first sale all in one go. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will. Alternatively, if this was not a sales order that had been agreed by the customer, I could go ahead and send them a quote. So to do that, I just select their email on the right-hand side, select my quote template, and press send. I don't need to do anything with this because the quote's already there as a PDF and it's an integrated document. I can just press send and move on. But for the sake of today's webinar, I will download this quote to give us an idea of what we can do with it. Of course, we can customize how it looks, but there is a little bit of cool functionality hidden behind here too. So if we actually just go to our downloads, here's the quote that's been built. It is a bit of a shoddy looking quote document, admittedly, in terms of just the way the table's built, but this is completely customizable. And again, this is something that we take care of alongside you in the onboarding process. So in terms of the design, it's as bespoke as you want it to be. In terms of how it operates from a software point of view, today's date comes through, the customer's details comes through, as does the expiration date. There's the order that we built. But what is pretty cool about our quotes is the customer can just approve it themselves. So the customer can press approve. They'll come to your order portal and they can input a PO and click approve. If that was to happen, you'd get an email saying, "Hi, Tony. Tony at the Access Group has confirmed order 2130, and we've pushed it through to Unleashed for you." That would all be automated from there. So it's a really nice customer buying experience, but likewise kind of automate some of the process for the sales people. On the topic of automation, you can also now, new feature alert, you can now set up automated workflows within the system too. So a pretty commonly used example that we've got is when we send a quote to a customer, if they don't action it within 5 working days, 10 regular days, or 7 working days, configure it how you wish, the system should automatically chase the customer with an email and do some of the groundwork for your team, which again, pretty cool functionality to say the least. That's a pretty good intro to the system though. So like I said, please use the Q&A section. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly pull up the PowerPoint. And I'll just run through those final 2 or 3 slides before I let you all crack on with your Tuesday afternoon. So, like I said, please don't hesitate to use the Q&A or the live chat, and I'll answer any questions as we go through. So, in terms of the next steps and how you can get all of this analysis free of charge and take a glimpse at where your business has real scope to improve, a business diagnosis, if you will, you can actually take out a trial within your CRM system. Going to the CRM tab within Unleashed, and it will automatically create a prospect trial and connect it all up for you. Then, you'll be contacted by someone like myself, and we'll look to book in a demonstration with you. You can also fill out a growth playbook scorecard where you can answer some questions around your business and kind of get some diagnosis about where your business could improve. And if you sign up to a trial before the end of this week, Friday, the 22nd of August, more specifically, then you will attain the first 3 months at half price on your new CRM system should you proceed with it, which is never a bad thing. Like I said, please go ahead and use the Q&A. I'll hang on for a couple of minutes here, see if any questions roll on through, and answer those the best I can. If you're all good though and would like to get off for the rest of your day, then please feel free to jump out and, like I say, have a great rest of your Tuesday. But I'll hang on for a couple of minutes in case there is any questions. Thanks everyone for jumping on. Looks like there's no Q&A or questions outstanding. So like I say, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Sign up to a free trial of Prospect, and hopefully we can run through all of this with you in relation to your business's data very soon. Thanks very much. All the best and take care.